Thanks everyone, and it's great opportunity to see the participation of all of the audience here, and I'm really happy to highlight once more today. Mining is one of the oldest profession in the world, and we know without mining we wouldn't have any kind of industry. Without the supply of the raw materials that are needed by industry, it would be almost impossible to run the life. As one of the famous mining person indicated in one of his recent book, mining is actually the source of the life, something like that. And I'm a big believer of this expression. So, and we have experienced in our operations in the regions that we've been operating, we have experienced that mining is bringing a lot of contribution and quality to the life of the people living around the sites. So as we are aware, in Turkey, if you look at the situation between Turkey and Canada, I think I see that there's a great opportunity to have a kind of a matchmaking case. In Turkey, we have a very good geological potential, and plus very good HR, human resources, both on white collar or blue collar. And when I turn back to Canada, I see that there's a very deep know-how and also the finance abilities. So if you just combine those two things, I see that there's great opportunity to develop more business opportunity on mining and increase the volume of trade. And also, if you somehow increase the opportunities for business, that means you're developing a lot of social relations as well. People start to understand each other much better. So as we are walking towards developing those relations, obviously, we know that there's great potential to transfer not only know-how but also the standards from Canada. And I think when we talk about the standards, at least I see and I know that we will be hearing a little bit more about towards sustainable mining concept of Mining Association of Canada. I think this will be a great opportunity for Turkish mining industry, so that we can get experience, know-how to elevate the standards in mining association in Turkey. So on that sense, I think as a equivalent of Mining Association of Canada, Mining Association of Turkey is willing to cooperate to convey the standards from Canada towards this end of the world. So that's why I see that this is a great opportunity or first step of developing that communication between two associations. As we have made our first meeting in Canada during TOBB last year, unfortunately because of pandemic, this has been a little bit interrupted. So I see that this is great opportunity to relive this communication a little bit more and make the first steps towards the communication between two associations. And once more, I'd like to thank to all of the participants, audience, that are going to contribute a lot to the development of this communication. Thank you very much, and thanks a lot. So in that sense, I think I'd like to leave the voice to Chris Wimmer. Chris, we're really happy to hear from your side.
Great, thanks, Mehmet. Always a pleasure to hear Mehmet speak about mining. Good friend and a good friend to Canada and to Turkey, particularly in industry. But I've had the pleasure of working with him for a number of years now. So good afternoon to everyone, and good morning to those attending in Canada. Foremost, allow me to express my gratitude to DEIK and to the Turkish Ministry of Trade and Customs for their ongoing support in developing our trade and investment relationship. It's a pleasure to have been working with Nurdan Hanım and Mehmet Bey and Mike Ward and Attila Bey and all the other Turkish officials over the past 4 years. And given our bilateral interest in sustainable mining, I've had the opportunity to get to know Ben Chalmers' efforts and how it would support the valuable Turkish mining community. As the Senior VP of the Mining Association of Canada, MAC, and the creator of their Towards Sustainable Mining, TSM initiative, I'm pleased to see that both Ben and the president of MAC, Pierre Gratin, as well as the Canadian mining community, noticing the powerhouse in mining that Turkey's become over the last number of years. The government of Canada is a strong supporter of corporate social responsibility, CSR, which has been redefined for our purposes as the Responsible Business Conduct, RBC. RBC is about Canadian companies doing business abroad responsibly in an economic, socially, and environmentally sustainable manner. Risk-based due diligence is a key to this process, and overall is how Canadian companies and how other companies do business abroad. And it's important for any company of any size and how they participate in the international global marketplace, not just in mining either. Given that the Canadian extractive industry and its investment in Turkey is substantial, providing over 6,000 jobs and $9 billion in total potential investment over the lifetime of their projects, it's important for the Canada-Turkey Joint Economic Trade Commission, the JETCO meetings, to note the importance of sustainable mining. Now, for those of you that don't know, Canada and Turkey signed this JETCO in June of 2019. We held our first meeting in November of 2019, and it's an instrument by which we try to enhance the commercial relationship and the collaboration relationship. And we look forward to perhaps our next JETCO this year in 2021. And one of the pillars of a discussion in that conversation will be natural resource management, how we manage our natural resources. And given Canada's large role in the local mining sector, of course, that will be a portion of the discussion and a portion of the responsibility in Turkey. And the contributions of the mining sector to any economy is sometimes not fully understood. Critical materials that are produced in mining are vital for more than what people understand and go into new clean technologies and innovative solutions, such as electric car batteries, for example. And then beyond that, just rare earth materials and elements, critical minerals and metals essential for these new technologies of both Canada and Turkey are richly sourced, and is another part of the relationship we hope to develop with Turkey in these next generation technologies, and how we move forward into Industry 4.0 will be dependent on our ability to find these resources, utilize them in a clean and sustainable manner, and move both our economies into the next phase of development. And developments in sustainable mining solutions are also important for Canada, of course. Canada's clean technology industry is playing a critical role in shaping the mining arena with energy transformation and reduced carbon emissions, I should say. Canada exporters have been delivering affordable, customized, improving technologies and services in these areas. And that's really where I think the next future focus will be. Of course, the traditional mining sector and the way things have gone for hundreds of years will continue to be in importance, but I like also to focus on how mining will look like in the future. And to give you an idea of the sector and the impact on Canada, Canada ranks amongst the top 5 countries in global production of 15 minerals and metals. And 1 in 30 jobs in Canada is actually part of the mining industry's direct or indirect employment. So mining is super important for Canada. You know, major cities like Toronto were built on the back of mining over the years, and the financial sector in Toronto as well. So mining has always played a critical role, and it's been, you know, as Mehmet can tell you, a long-term relationship that Canada has had with Turkey, and we continue to want to develop and collaborate on and make sure it's a fruitful endeavor that's both sustainable and profitable for both countries. So without further delay, I'm delighted to pass the virtual microphone on to Ali Emiroğlu, the president and chairperson of the Mining Association of Turkey, who of course is an exemplary representative of Turkey's highly experienced mining community, an important partner for us at the Trade Commissioner's Service and Canada in general. And we've had the pleasure to work with Ali over the years, and I'm very thankful for all the support he can provide. So over to you, Ali, and then thank you for the opportunity to participate on this important discussion. Thank you very much.
Çok teşekkür ediyorum. Öncelikle güzel sözler için de çok teşekkür ederim Mr. Wimmer'a. Şimdi ben öncelikle Kanada Konsolosluğu'nun çok değerli temsilcilerini, Kanada Madenciler Derneği'nin değerli başkanını, tüm meslektaşlarımı saygıyla selamlıyorum. Gerçekten de bu toplantılara ve Kanada ile işbirliğine de son derece önem verdiğimizi ve ilk defa da yapmadığımızı belirtmek istiyorum. Aslında uzun yıllardan beri bugüne kadar gelen ciddi işbirliklerimiz var. Bunun daha da gelişmeye de ihtiyacı olduğunu biliyorum. Ben de tüm Kanada Konsolosluğu'na, Kanada şirketlerine gösterdikleri destekten ben de teşekkür ediyorum. Yaklaşımdan dolayı teşekkür ediyorum. Bu işbirliğinin ülkemiz madenciliğinde gelişmesinde, dünyaya da örnek teşkil edecek madenciliğin gelişmesinde önemli olduğunu düşünüyorum. Kanada'nın değerli madencilerinin birikimlerini, Mehmet Başkanımın da söylediği gibi, know-how'ını, iş sağlığı ve güvenliğine verdiği önemi, çevreye verdiği duyarlılığın ülkemizde de yerleşmesi için bizlere örnek teşkil ettiğini de ve bizim de bunlardan faydalandığımızı da bir kez daha belirtmek istiyorum. Şimdi aslında çok kısa ben derneğimizi tanıtmak istiyorum. Belki herkes biliyor ama Türkiye Madenciler Derneği 1948 yılında özel şirketlerin ve kamu şirketlerinin bir araya gelmesiyle oluşturulan Türkiye'nin ilk, en eski ve en köklü madencilik sivil toplum kuruluşu. Bu anlamda da çok köklü bir geçmişe sahip, çok deneyime sahip, birikime sahip ve etik değerlere sahip. Burada da bizler görev yapmaktan gerçekten mutluyuz ve gururluyuz. Derneğimizde kimler var? Başta metalik maden üretici şirketlerimiz var. Endüstriyel ham madde ve mineralleri üreten şirketlerimiz var. Kömür var, mermer var. Ve biz Türkiye Madenciler Derneği'nin üyeleri olarak Türkiye'deki mermer ve agrega üretimi hariç Türkiye madencilik üretiminin yaklaşık %80'ini üreten şirketlerin temsilcileri olarak görev yapıyoruz. Derneğimizin bir vizyonu var, bir misyonu var. Bir defa vizyonu toplumun sürdürülebilir kalkınması için temel ekonomik, sosyal ve çevresel varlıkları temin eden, kendi ayakları üzerinde durabilen, sorumluluk sahibi bir maden enstitüsünün yaratılması hedefi var. Misyonunda ise Türkiye'deki madenciliğin sürdürülebilir, başarılı ve katma değer yaratan bir şekilde gelişmesini sağlamak en başta. Sektör içinde işbirliğini ve bilgi paylaşımını arttırmak, bunlarla ilgili ilişkilerin ağını örmek ve onun dışında da bugün de sizlerle yaptığımız gibi tüm dünya ülkelerindeki madencilik toplulukları arasında iletişimi ve işbirliğini sağlamak, ortak projeler geliştirmek için ortam yaratmak. Böyle bir misyonu da üstlenmiş durumda derneğimiz. Biz bugün bu bağlamda da Kanadalı meslektaşlarımız ile Kanada'nın değerli ülke temsilcileriyle birlikte olmaktan da Mehmet Başkanımın dediği gibi gerçekten çok mutluyuz. Aslına baktığımız zaman ilk başta dediğim gibi Kanada'yla ve Kanada ülke madencileriyle ilişkilerimiz yeni değil. Biz bugün hala hazırda TÜPRAK ve Çayeli Bakır olmak üzere iki tane çok değerli yerli diyeyim ben onlara, Kanada kökenli aslında ama Mehmet Başkanımız bizim aynı zamanda ikinci başkanımız. Çayeli Bakır'ın temsilcisi Ercan Bey de genel sekreterimiz. Onlarla birlikte Türkiye'deki madenciliğin sürdürülebilir şekilde gelişmesini sağlamaya ve insana ve çevreye önem veren sürdürülebilir madenciliğin gelişmesine için çalışmalarımızı sonuna kadar birlikte sürdürüyoruz. Aslında birlikteliğimiz yeni değil Kanada'yla ve çok da uyumlu şekilde devam ediyor. Şimdi ben şunu belirtmek istiyorum. Aslında biz yabancı şirketlerin kendi ülkeleri dışında ne kadar faaliyetlerinde zorluklar yaşadığının bilincindeyiz. Zaman zaman ülkemizde de bu şekilde hiç istemediğimiz olaylar da gerçekleşiyor. Kanada şirketleri için de gerçekleşiyor. Bunları sanmayın ki sadece Kanada şirketleri içinde olduğunu. Yerli şirketlerimiz de bir takım zorluklar yaşıyor. Madenciliğe karşı ülkemizde maalesef olumsuz bir algı var ve bu algı her geçen gün büyüdü. Biz bu algının da değiştirilmesi için çok önemli projeler ve çalışmalar yapıyoruz ve bunları geliştiriyoruz. Çok kısa zamanda da bunları da gündeme getireceğiz ve harekete geçireceğiz. Her ne kadar bu istenmediğimiz olaylar olsa da biz ülkemizde yasalara uygun olarak çalışan, insanı ve çevreyi uygulayan, ister yabancı ister yerli olsun hiçbir ayrım yapmayan tüm madencilik şirketlerini ve faaliyetlerini destekliyoruz ve desteklemeye de devam edeceğiz. Bu bizler için son derece önemli. Çünkü biz doğru şekilde madenciliğin gelişmesi için gerek ülkemizdeki madencilerin, gerek de yurt dışında Kanada firmaları gibi çok değerli bilgilere, know-how'a, bilince ve kültüre sahip şirketlerin bilgilerinden ve birikimlerinden faydalanacağız ve faydalanmaya da istekliyiz ve bunlarla ilgili işbirliklerini geliştirmeye de istekliyiz. Mehmet Başkanım belirtti. Ben hani çok buna tekrar değinmek istemiyorum ama şuna gerçekten bilmesini istiyorum. Türkiye'de gerçekten çok ciddi bir maden potansiyeli var. Bu maden potansiyelinin geliştirilmesi lazım. Bu madencilik potansiyelinin alanı bulması ve doğru şekilde işletilerek hem ülkemize hem insanların hizmetine sunulması lazım. Biraz önce Sayın Konsolosumuzun da söylediği gibi maden olmadan hiçbir şey olmuyor. Maden olmadan bugünkü hayatı sürdürmek mümkün değil. Maden olmadan bugün yenilebilir enerji üretmek de mümkün değil. Karbon ayak izlerini azaltmak mümkün değil. Bu anlamda da madenciliğe, dünyanın en eski sektörü olan madenciliğin yapılmasına ve sürdürülebilirliğine, kaynakların sürdürülebilir şekilde üretilmesine gerçekten çok ihtiyacımız var. Bizim bu potansiyelimiz var. Biraz önce de yine Mehmet Başkanım dediği gibi bununla ilgili gerçekten de yetişmiş insan kaynağımız da var. Bu çok önemli. Evet, bunun dışında sermaye ulaşım konusunda tabii ki yatırım ortamının daha da iyileştirilmesi lazım. Bu ülkemiz için önem taşıyor. Yatırımın ortamının iyileştirilmesiyle reel projelerin dünya finans çevresine sunulmasıyla biz gerekli finansı da bulacağımıza inanıyoruz. Bunda Kanada ile ilgili de, Kanada ülkesiyle ilgili de, Kanadalı şirketlerle de iyi bir işbirliği sağlayabileceğimize de inanıyoruz. Zaten bu ilişkilerimiz aslında yıllardan beri var ama bu ilişkilerin geliştirilmesine de ihtiyacımız var. Bu anlamda da biz hem Kanada Konsolosluğu'nun değerli görevlileriyle hem de Kanada Madenciler Derneği ile ilişkilerimizi daha da geliştireceğiz. Mehmet Başkanımın da dediği gibi Kanada Madenciler Derneği ile ortak bir iş sağlığı ve güvenliği konusunda, etik değerler konusunda, çevreyle uyum konusunda da ortak bir projelerin ön hazırlıklarını ve çalışmasını yapıyoruz. Ben onlara bu konuda bize verdikleri desteklerden dolayı da tekrar teşekkür ediyorum. Bu konunun da ülkemiz madenciliği için, madenciliğin geleceği için önemli olduğunu düşünüyorum. Ben tekrar hepinize çok teşekkür ediyorum. Burada emeği geçen, bu toplantının düzenlenmesine emeği geçen başta Pınar Hanım olmak üzere DEIK'e, Mehmet Başkanıma, konsolosluk görevlerine ve tüm meslektaşlarıma çok teşekkür ediyorum. Hepinize saygılar sunuyorum.
Okay, now I think we can just turn it over to Ercan for his quick comments. Please, Ercan.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, once more. I'm glad to be here with you all and discussing some of quick important issues that we may collaborate on. The Turkish mining industry is having some challenging time due to public concerns at large. The main concerns are coming from our performance, the mining industry's performance, mostly our performance about health and safety, environmental stewardship, and community relations. I think some of the challenges we are facing are legitimate. Some of the concerns are legitimate due to our poor performance as mining industry, and some of them are either conspiracy theories or some of the unsupported blames for our industry. It doesn't matter what if it is legitimate or not, but we are having challenges and we need to overcome them. As Çayeli, I'm here as a Secretary General of Miners Association of Turkey, but also I'm representing a company, a subsidiary of First Quantum, which is a member of TSM, towards Sustainable Mining Initiative of MEC. And we are receiving great guidance from the TSM program, which gives us direction, and we are applying those values and principles and translating into our own case, translating into our cultural context, and it works well. I think as individual company, we can't get rid of these troubles, and as industry, in Turkish mining industry, we need to act proactively and resolve some of the concerns. What are concerns? Number one, health and safety performance. We need to fix it. Following the Soma accident, I'm sure you all heard about it in 2014. The Turkish mining industry made significant improvement in terms of health and safety. And nowadays we are having some public reactions in terms of environment, the impact of mining industry over environment. And there are time to time, we are receiving many protests and public reactions to stop mining activities or operations or projects. So as Miners Association of Turkey, we are nowadays developed a plan to overcome them. Number one, we are going to communicate to public at large. We are going to explain ourselves and emphasize the importance of the mining. But it won't be enough. We also need to communicate with our members, with not only members, but also to mining industry itself. We need to make some changes, some cultural changes. We cannot just dig and make money and disregard the importance of environment and the people, local communities, and business ethic, and many other things. We need to improve. We need to raise the awareness of our industry. For that, also we are going to possibly that will be the main part that we need to receive some support from MEC, Mining Association of Canada. I think there's a large room to cooperate and receive some support from MEC. Previously, we had a chance to host Pierre in Turkey a couple of times, as I remember. And we believe that in following days, we are going to export some principles and guidance from MEC and adjust it to our own culture of Turkish mining industry. We just cannot translate the principles and things and impose to our operators. We need to understand the perspective and the values and principles and adjust to Turkish mining industry. For that, I think we need to collaborate. We are, as Miners Association of Turkey, we are quite happy to collaborate and accept any support that Canadian mining industry provide to our side. I think I have 5 minutes. Possible I should stop here. Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here once more. Thank you.
Thanks, Ercan, for your consideration on timing as well. And actually, I would like to turn the microphone or the time to Halil İbrahim Kırshan. He's the head of mining assembly in the Union of Chambers and Commodity Exchanges of Turkey. And Halil İbrahim Kırshan is now on the private sector, but he has been on the government side long years. So let's hear from TOBB. Please, Halil İbrahim Bey. I think you're on mute. Ses kapalı.
Halil Bey, mikrofonunuz kapalı şu an. Duyamıyoruz sizi maalesef. Aşağı kısım, mikrofon kısmına basarsanız sesiniz gelecek. Hala...
Çok affedersiniz, özür dilerim. Ekranda bir kayma oldu. Çok değerli Kanada'dan katılan misafirlerimiz, Kanada Madenciler Derneği Başkan ve Başkan Yardımcısı, Kanada Türkiye İş Konseyi Direktörü, yine Kanada Türkiye Kıdemli Ticaret Müsteşarı ve ülkemizden katılan değerli STK başkanları, Dış Ekonomik İlişkiler Kurulu DEIK ve Kanada Dışişleri Bakanlığı Ticaret Müşavirliği'nin desteğiyle düzenlenmiş bulunan Türkiye-Kanada Sürdürülebilir Madencilik Webinarı'nın davetlerinden dolayı Düzenleme Komitesi'ne çok teşekkür ediyorum ve katılımcıları saygılarımla selamlıyorum. İzninizle ben kısaca bir Türkiye'de son 30-40 yılda madencilik sektöründe olan gelişmelere kısaca bir değinmek istiyorum. Akabinde de Türkiye-Kanada ilişkileri bağlamında madencilik sektörümüze yapılması gereken katkılar konusundaki görüşlerimi beyan etmek istiyorum. Türkiye'deki katılımcılarımız çok iyi biliyor ama Kanadalı dostlarımız da muhtemelen takip etmişlerdir. 1980'li yıllarda madencilik sektörü daha çok kamu eliyle yürütülüyordu. %85'e %15'lik bir pay gibi söz konusuydu. Kamu tarafını da Etibank, o zamanki kamu kuruluşu, birçok metal madenini kendi bünyesinde üretime katıyordu. Keza kömür sektöründe de Türkiye Kömür İşletmeleri ve Türkiye Taş Kömürü Kurumu tekel konumundaydılar. Ancak son 30-40 yıldaki gelişmelerle beraber bu tersine tamamen döndü. 80'li yıllarda dünyadaki gelişmelere bağlı olarak serbestleşme rüzgarı Türkiye'de de kendini hissettirdi. Hem madencilik sektöründe hem enerji sektöründe buna ayak uyduruldu ve ciddi bir liberal politikayla beraber maden kanunu yenilendi. Akabinde enerji sektöründe de bu tür bir düzenlemeye gidildi ve özellikle kamunun elindeki madencilik kuruluşları teker teker özelleştirme yoluyla halka devredildi, özel sektöre devredildi. Akabinde yine elektrik üretim sektörü, dağıtım sektörü de bundan payını aldı. Az önce Mehmet Bey ifade etti, 30 yıla yakın kamu hizmetinde MTA Genel Müdürlüğü, Özelleşme İdaresi Başkanlığı kuruluşlarda da çalıştım. Bunu şunun için söylüyorum, özellikle ülkemizdeki elektrik dağıtım sektörünün hemen hemen tamamını benim başkanlığıma bağlı şekilde ihale ederek özel sektöre açtık. Ve geldiğimiz nokta itibariyle de abone yerine müşteri kavramı geldiği için de özellikle enerji sektöründe de muazzam bir gelişme kaydedildi. Madencilik sektörü tarafından bakacak olursak yine şu anda özel sektör tamamen egemen durumda. Ülkemizde özellikle borlar devlet tekelinde Etimaden işletiyor malumunuz olduğu üzere. Keza Türkiye Kömür İşletmeleri de kömürü üretiyor ama onun dışında kalan büyük kısım madencilik faaliyeti özel sektör eliyle yürütülüyor. Buradan şuraya geleceğim. Özellikle 2000'li yılların başına kadar yabancı sermayenin biraz ülkemizden uzak durduğu bir arama sermayesi, risk sermayesi olarak bu noktada biz bu yabancı sermayeden faydalanamadığımızı düşünüyorum. 2000'li yıllarla beraber özellikle Kanada firmalarının yoğun bir şekilde özellikle metalik madenlere, altın madenciliği önemlisiyle beraber muazzam bir hem potansiyel ortaya çıktı hem de üretime dönük işletmeler devreye girmeye başladı. Ben hali hazırda az önce Mehmet Bey ifade etti. Çiftay diye bir şirketimizin Enerji ve Maden Grup Başkanıyım ve şu anda bizim Çiftay şirketimiz İki tane maden firma, Kanada firmasına Centerra Gold ve Alacer Gold'a da mining contractor olarak hizmet veriyor. Ve biz buradan ciddi manada hem bir teknolojiye sahip olduk hem de özellikle aramada risk sermayesi olarak kabul edilen finansman noktasında da ciddi bir yatırım atağı oluştuğu için de Türkiye'deki özellikle metalik maden potansiyeli gün ışığına çıkmış oldu. Bu manada da Kanadalı dostlarımıza burada teşekkürlerimi ifade etmek istiyorum. Tabii geldiğimiz nokta itibariyle her şey güllük gülistanlık değil. Az önce arkadaşlar değindiler. Özellikle son 2 senedir çevresel hareketlerle beraber maalesef sıkıntılı bir sürece girdi ülkemiz maden sektörü. Ancak biz kesinlikle karamsar değiliz. Bunlar geçici ve konjüktürel şeyler. Ancak burada da bizim Türkiye madenlik sektörü olarak kendimize bir çeki düzen vermemiz lazım. Az önce Ercan Bey yeni dönemde madenlik sektörünün kodlarına vurgu yaptı. Ben de bu çerçevede özellikle bu önümüzdeki süreçte çevreyle barışık, Mehmet Bey'in de ifadesiyle önce insan sonra çevre daha sonra madencilik şiarını prensip ederek o çerçevede yolumuza devam etmemiz gerektiğine inanıyorum. Burada yine bu dönemde hesap verilebilirlik ve şeffaflık, yine şimdiye kadar biraz ihmal ettiğimiz sosyal onay ve toplumsal kabul ilkeleri çerçevesinde sektöre yön vermemiz ve yine iş sağlığı ve güvenliği noktasında da hiç taviz vermeden yolumuza devam etmemiz gerektiğine inanıyorum. Bunlar olmazsa olmaz, kesinlikle kırmızı çizgilerimizin olması gerekir diye ben düşünüyorum. Ben tabii burada bana ayrılan süre içerisinde özellikle Kanadalı dostlarımızın madenlik sektörüyle alakalı olarak Mehmet Bey'in ifade ettiği tarzda hem know-how noktasında ciddi bir tecrübeden faydalanma noktasında ben yine altını çizerek vurguluyorum. Keza özellikle teknoloji transferi noktasında da yine Kanadalı dostlarımızın bize ciddi manada yardımları olacak. Ben o noktadayım. Ve yine finansman noktasında da bu süreci el birliğiyle daha iyi projelerle yönetebileceğimize, yönlendirebileceğimize inanıyorum. Az önce bir Kanadalı dostumuz özellikle bu çevresel kaygılarla beraber işte bu temiz ve yenilebilir enerji noktasında da ham madde temin noktasında yine madenlik sektörüne çok önemli bir iş düştüğünü, ben de aynı kanaatteyim. Özellikle eğer mesela yenilebilir enerji noktasında güneş paneli, rüzgar kolektörü tasarlayacaksak bunlar yine metal madenlere dayalı olarak olması gerektiği. Keza elektrikli araçlar konusunda batarya temini noktasında nikel, kobalt gibi yine madenlere ihtiyaç duyulacağı noktasında görüşümü beyan etmek istiyorum. Kısacası madencilik olmadan bu bahsettiğimiz temiz ve yenilenebilir enerji noktasında da mesafe kat edemeyeceğimizi düşünüyorum. Bunun da bilinmesi gerektiğini ve bu noktada dünyayı yöneten güçlerin bu noktada da madenci sektörüne ihtiyaçlarının her zamankinden daha fazla olacağını özellikle altını çiziyorum. Bu çerçevede ben görüşlerimi ifade ettim. Tüm katılımcılara saygılarımla konuşmamı sonlandırıyorum. Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much, Halil İbrahim Bey. And before I turn it over to Elif, I should say that women should not be only in mining. Women should be everywhere. I'm a big believer of that because in our organization, women, we try to make sure that women is everywhere. Not only office, not only, site and stuff like that. I was quite jealous when I saw first a female truck driver years ago in Canada and US. Now we have that in Turkey. It's my pleasure. It's my great achievement, I should say. And also in one of our operations, we had the first underground supervisor, female mining engineer as the supervisor. These are, I believe this is the honor for us. So please, Elif Hanım, we are really happy to see you today.
Thank you very much, Mehmet Bey. First of all, it's an honor for me to be invited to this meeting. I'm quite excited about it. And today, as you can see from my name tag, I am here as one of the founding members for the Women in Mining Turkey Association. Please let me start by introducing myself a little bit, and then maybe we'll switch into the women inclusion in mining industry. I'm a geologist, graduated from Ankara University, and then I completed my MSc in Ottawa U in 2011 in Earth and Environmental Sciences. And actually, I did my master's in a quite different area than mining. But luckily, there was a core logger needed in a small junior mining company in Northern Ontario. And I had the chance to take that job. And then that's how I started working in the mining industry. And then it became a passion for me. As you all know, that in the exploration mining business, there are ups and downs. And unfortunately, I was part of that down part of the story in 2011. And that's why I had to come back to Turkey. And since then, I have been working in Turkey in several Canadian mining exploration companies, including Eldorado Gold, TOBB, and TEK Resources. Worked as an exploration geologist and project geologist in several parts of Turkey. This is my 11th year in the mining industry. And since I was a student, I was always involved with this diversity and gender diversity and women in mining business. And as a student, that followed as a professional passion for me. That's how me and my other 8 colleagues, women colleagues, gathered together and decided to create this environment of Women in Mining Turkey Association for all women in the industry, not just the geologist or geoscience world, but everyone who has any sort of effort in this industry. As Mehmet Yılmaz mentioned, I think TOBB Eldorado Gold is a great example for that in Turkey, women involvement in this industry. We met Yelda Temizci. She's for sure a great example and inspiration for us. So we are aware that we have a long way to go. We have to do a lot of we have to put a lot of effort on this to create a balance. But before that, we also believe that in order to sustain this balance in gender diversity in mining in Turkey, there is this cultural background, as I think that's one of the part that Ercan also mentioned in the social licensing area of the industry, but that is true for the technical parts or any part of the industry as well. But besides that culture, in order to create the awareness and increase the involvement of women, we believe one of the very important part of the sustainable mining is the education, continuous improvement. As you know, for the past, I guess, 5-10 years, mining industry in Turkey has been evolved and in a very good way. I think one of the very good examples for that is the UMREK code in 2018 that had been accepted by CRISCO. And now, because of this UMREK code, we have qualified persons applications in order to be registered in order to be able to prepare these reports. But up until now, when you look at the women and men ratio, unfortunately, it's not that good. We have, according to my knowledge, about 95 registered people who can write reports under UMREK code, but only 7 of them are women. So that being said, we know that one of the very important part of this women involvement and encouragement is going to be education. And our association as Women in Mining Turkey aims to create an environment for educational trainings for all different parts of technical and social, or everyone who has an involvement in the industry. And because of our name, and I'm sure as Mining Association Canada, you're aware of that. As Women in Mining, there is another bench in Canada also called Women in Mining Canada. One of the things that they are doing in Canada and other countries as well, in United Kingdom or South Africa, they have mentorships throughout international networks And this is definitely going to be one of our aim to be have this bridge between associations, Turkey and Canada, so that we would show the women professionals in the industry in Turkey that in order to be more encouraged and involved, continuous improvement and education, and to be inspired by others who have been in this industry for a long time is very important. That's pretty much all I'm going to say. Thank you very much again. It's really a great honor for me to be here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Elif Hanım. And as we've been discussing the interaction between Turkey and Canada, especially on mining, I think enough said, between between the reps of the industry and also between the countries and stuff like that. So I think it's good time. You're not too. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's really time to turn it over to Ben and Pierre so that they can talk about. They can give their short presentation regarding to the standards and TSM and maybe the things that they would like to talk from the Mining Association of Canada side. Please.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for this invitation. And it's a pleasure to speak to the Turkish Mining Association and others again, because you're quite right. I think I visited Turkey for the first time several years ago now, and worked closely with First Quantum as they were among the first Canadian mining companies to implement TSM outside Canada's borders, along with but now they've been joined by several others, including Eldorado Gold, and also since that time, several other mining associations around the world have signed on to TSM. Most recently, of course, the Minerals Council of Australia, and I could not help but think about when I was listening to the various speakers and the challenges that you're facing in Turkey, which are not dissimilar from challenges faced by many others around the world. But of course, in Australia, they have really been struggling in particular with significant concerns subsequent to the Yukon Gorge explosion that destroyed indigenous artifacts that were tens of thousands of years old. And it's led to an inquiry and an awful lot of sort of criticism of the mining sector there. They've also been under a lot of pressure on issues such as climate change. And if you had a look at the media response to their announcement that they were adopting TSM, this is just a few weeks ago, it was overwhelmingly positive, with a lot of compliments from Indigenous leaders and other stakeholders for their decision to adopt and commit to implementing TSM. And I think that's because TSM has grown in international awareness of TSM has grown significantly over the last number of years, with more and more countries signing on and more companies signing on. And it's holding up to public scrutiny because it is a serious program. It's not window dressing. There's no greenwashing here. It really is about the industry committing to performance, to high standards and to performance improvement over time, and engaging with its stakeholder community in a legitimate, open, and transparent manner. So, I think for the Turkish industry at this time to consider doing the same as Australia, I think is timely. And I think you need only look at the Australian experience so far to see the potential benefits. I would emphasize that the real benefits from TSM come over time, but the initial launch by the Minerals Council has been very, very positive. So with that, we'll walk you through the program today. Just very quickly who we are. So Mining Association of Canada, we're the equivalent of the Turkish Mining Association. We are the voice of the industry at the national level. And we represent most of the Canadian mining industry, not all, but the vast majority of major mining operations are within our membership. And I would say that our membership has grown significantly over the past 10 years. We've more than increased our membership by more than 50%. And almost without exception, every new member that has come, the reason they come is because of TSM. They have recognized that it's a program that they need to adopt and implement. So TSM has really been a boon for membership growth, which of course has been great for everyone. TSM, it's an award-winning performance system. It's a set of tools and indicators that help industry drive performance and ensure that your key risks are managed responsibly. It's mandatory for all of our members' operations in Canada. It's not mandatory for member companies' operations outside Canada. That's beyond our own mandate. But as I mentioned, several of our members have committed to implementing TSM outside our borders, and you have a couple of them within your association as well. It's really grounded in a commitment to accountability, transparency, credibility, and continual improvement. And Ben and I have decided we're going to share this presentation. So I'm going to stop now and turn the next couple of slides over to Ben, and then I'll come back to you.
Hey everyone, it's
a dynamic.
it's a pleasure to have a chance to speak to you all today. So I just wanted to spend a couple minutes here talking about what it actually means to adopt TSM outside of Canada as a national association. And you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen here the various countries that have already embarked on this journey, beginning with Finland in 2015, and as Pierre mentioned, most recently, the Minerals Council of Australia. But what it means for a national association is to adopt the 7 things on the left of the screen. You begin by adopting a set of guiding principles, and I'll show you what ours look like in a moment, but it's a set of high-level principles that articulate your commitment as a national industry to responsible mining practices. Then you bring on a set of performance indicators. As part of the agreement around TSM adoption, we freely give you all of our indicators, but you have the opportunity to shape them and make them your own, add to them as you need, or select the priority ones. For example, when Finland adopted TSM in 2015, they brought in a mine closure protocol because we didn't have one due to very strong closure regulations in Canada, but they felt they needed one for TSM to be credible in their country. Another indicator or another protocol that's often varied between countries is our Indigenous and Community Relationships protocol, which varies a little bit depending on the relationship with Indigenous people and communities in each country to respect the cultural differences between jurisdictions. You have to commit to facility level or mine site level reporting with independent verification and public reporting of that performance. Over the course of a 5-year implementation period, there's a need to establish a condition of membership. So your members are required to do so, though there's some ability to adjust that as well to do what's right for you. For example, in Canada, we don't represent sand and gravel or industrial minerals or aggregates, so they're not part of the condition of membership. So there's some latitude to make sure that an approach works for you. And then the last thing that you need to do is to establish a community of interest panel, a multi-stakeholder panel, to guide and oversee the implementation of TSM. It acts as a sort of it's where a lot of the credibility that Pierre just talked about comes from. And so the idea here is that you take TSM from us you review all of the components of it, you shape it to suit the Turkish context and make it your own, while working with this growing global community of national associations to support each other and work together. So this is quickly just a summary of our guiding principles to give you an idea of the kinds of things that we commit to, and then we use the indicators and protocols that we'll talk about in a few minutes to demonstrate how we're actually implementing those and measure progress at a mindset level to implementing those. This is just a summary. There's more detailed guiding principles on our website. And I'll turn it back to Pierre.
Thanks, Ben. So just a little bit about the community of interest panel. So each jurisdiction has either that's signed on to TSM has either already established or is in the process of establishing a panel. Ours has been in existence since 2004. The membership changes, so it's not the same people as in 2004. In our case, there are certain categories of groups that are consistently represented. Canada's 3 Indigenous peoples, the First Nations, the Inuit in Northern Canada, and the Métis, all of their national organizations nominate someone to sit on our panel. We have environmental and social NGOs. We have, including someone representing the justice community, social justice community. Previously, we had somebody from the faith community. We have representatives who work and live near, not for the industry, but in communities where the mining industry is active. So they live firsthand with the experiences of mining. We have organized labor representative. We have someone from the financial sector. And this group of 14 individuals meets twice per year with select representatives from our board of directors. Our next meeting, in fact, is next week. And what we've been able to do in the past is invite our other associations to come join us and observe our panel meetings. Of course, that's a bit challenging now, given that everything has gone virtual. But when we return to normal, that will certainly be an opportunity for the Turkish Mining Association, should you so wish. So they meet twice per year. The role of the panel is to essentially keep the industry challenged, honest, to push us in a very constructive, respectful manner. They provide an annual report on their work that's published in our annual report. And they have a role to play in our external verification system, which we'll describe to you also in a couple of minutes. In between the 2 formal meetings, there are subgroups that do participate fairly actively by video conference or teleconference, as the case may be. So it's a pretty engaged group, and it's been hugely influential, but also hugely, very, very key to the overall credibility of the program itself. And through their own network and channels, they're able to convey the important message that our industry is serious about improving performance and being responsible actors. So next slide, I think, is it me still? And this is, so we're going to get into a bit of the details around the protocols and what it is that we measure and report against. Today, there are 8, what we call 8 different areas or protocols that are listed here. And each of these have a set of indicators, a different number depending on the protocol, and they generally operate the same way, which I think Ben will describe in a moment. When we started TSM, we only had 4. There was tailings management, Indigenous and community relationships, crisis management, and energy and greenhouse gas, or what is now climate change management. The other 4 were added over time. And this is also an important consideration for you, is I mean, we did not start with 30 indicators and 8 protocols. If you felt as an association that that was too ambitious to start with, you could choose a subset and start smaller and grow. The 7 conditions that elements that Ben described earlier, there is flexibility for you to tailor this to your own circumstances and focus on those issues that are most important to start with and build over time. You don't have to do everything at once, just like we didn't effectively. Ben, back to you.
All right, thanks, Pierre. So this slide starts to dive into the 8 protocol areas that Pierre just introduced. And so if you see along the second row on the top, the gray, those are the 8 protocol areas that Pierre just shared with you. Below that are a series of indicators. There are 30 indicators within TSM under these 8 protocols, each represented by a box here. So you can see on the far left under Indigenous and community relationships, there's 5 boxes for 5 indicators. Whereas the next one over for crisis planning, there's 3 indicators. So the idea here is that each mine reports a letter grade score, and we'll describe the letter grade system in a moment, for each of these boxes. And then that's what's publicly reported. So the public, your managers, the company, stakeholders can all see where you're doing well and where you have room to improve. So for example, perhaps you have achieved top scores in your relationships with your communities, but maybe you have a little bit of work to do on your biodiversity conservation. So you could see A's, double A's, and triple A's in one and B's in another. Most of this is focused on management systems. That's what we find comparable. So you can sort of set criteria around what constitutes a good management system. There are a number of areas that talk about reporting. So for example, the second from bottom in health and safety includes reporting and monitoring. There's several others. The last indicator in biodiversity includes reporting. These are sort of more around the transparency and the kinds of criteria focus on what you would be reporting out publicly around your performance. And so the approach taken with TSM is to say you need to report on key performance, but it's how you report on that and what you report on is up to you in those areas, because that's not comparable. For example, in water, you can't really compare the performance based on how much water is treated and discharged between a mine in a wet climate and a mine in a dry climate. So we don't try to compare. We compare on whether you have good management systems in place. So for example, in Indigenous and community relations, the first indicator focuses on your stakeholder map. How do you define who it is that you need to be talking to and working with? The second indicator focuses on how do you work with those communities? How do you talk to them? How do you engage with them? How do you develop collaboratively with them engagement systems that will yield stronger relationships with your affected communities? The third indicator focuses on the Indigenous elements. So there are extra obligations that are unique to Indigenous communities. So this pulls those parts out and separates them into a separate indicator. Then we talk about community impact and benefit. And this is where you would see yourself being put into a situation where you're sitting down with a community and conducting a risk assessment from their perspective, and also working with them to identify the kinds of benefits that they would like to achieve from their relationship with you and work with them to optimize those benefits. And the last is around a response mechanism or a grievance mechanism. How can the community come forward with questions, with concerns, with complaints, and know that they'll be responded to in a timely and fairly manner? So that's the kind of approach that we take for all of these, that notion of setting up good systems and processes that are established on a consensus basis by industry practitioners in conjunction with the COI panel structure that Pierre just talked about. So I should underline that all of these indicators are developed by your colleagues. When we develop these, we pull together experts from our members in the areas of tailings, in the areas of biodiversity or community relations, and together they articulate what constitutes good practice and leadership. This is what it actually looks like. So this is, again, so you start to see here the letter grade system, C through AA, or C through AAA, that'll be explained in just a moment. And you can see by each level, there's a series of criteria that one must meet, and it's cumulative. So in order to move from B to A, you have to achieve all of B and then all of A before you can claim an A. And same as you move from AA to AAA. This is one of the briefer indicators because I could fit it all on one screen. There are others that are more detailed, but you would see that as you go through. So I'll turn it over to Pierre to describe the rating system.
So for 6 of the 8 protocols, they're based on this 5-level scale that Ben has touched on: CBA, AA, and AAA, with A as good practice. And the goal for all Mining Association of Canada members is to achieve a level A in all indicators. And for tailings management, it's a requirement that you achieve a level A in all indicators within 4 years of signing on to the program. So we've established a more stringent requirement for tailings for obvious reasons. Level A is not easy. The criteria that you have to meet for level A and to demonstrate that you're operating according to good practice is not easy. And that's also why this program's credible. If we had made it easy and everyone was A or better right from the start, then I don't think people would have seen TSM as a very credible program. But because members actually do, when they start, report lower grades and are honest about it, the program has had credibility, and it's really protected the program and the companies from outside criticism of greenwashing. And you can go beyond A to levels of leadership, AA and AAA, where it's really for those companies that want to or choose to, or maybe feel compelled to, given where they operate, to achieve even higher levels of performance. I said 6 of the 8 protocols work this way. There's 2 that are different. Crisis management, it's binary. It's a yes, no. You either meet all of the requirements or you don't. And the rationale for that, which holds true today, is you can't be partially ready for a crisis. You either are or you aren't. And the other is child and forced labor. Same thinking. It's binary. You can assure you have no child or forced labor at your operations, or you can't. And if you can't, you have a problem. So it's not a set of indicators that lends itself to a scale. You can't have, a level A. You have, say that a level A you've achieved. You only have 5 children, and a AA you have, 3 children. It doesn't work that way, obviously. So it's again a binary yes/no kind of question. The next slide this is an illustration of how of one of our member companies, Agnico Eagle. They operate in Canada, in Mexico, and in Finland. And this shows you their scores that they've reported publicly for safety and health. It's all for all of their operations, for all 5 of the indicators. So if you look on the far left, their Goldex mine, you will see that they are reporting 3 indicators at level A, 1 at AAA, and 1 at AA. And at one of their operations, Pinos Altos in Mexico, has achieved a AAA in all 5 indicators. Now I should mention here, of course, that Agnico Eagle has been implementing TSM for years. If you went to earlier reports by Agnico Eagle, you would not see scores this high. You would see much lower scores. But that's the value of TSM, because they were able early on to see where the gaps were, what they needed to address, and how to improve. And they consistently did so at each and every one of their mines. And so today, they are able to demonstrate that they're actually achieving very, very high standards of performance in the area of safety and health. And this is, of course, a very good story for Agnico Eagle. And we tell a similar story industry-wide. Ben, do you want to go to the next?
We'll do this slide first. So this is just building on the data that Pierre just shared with you. So we're able to aggregate the data across the industry, and we do this for each indicator. So this is coming back to the Indigenous and Community Relations example that I shared with you. And what this shows is progress over time, beginning in 2006, which was our first year of of verified reporting, you can see in that you're only between about 50% and 60% of our members could meet the good practice level A or better. Today, that number is over 90%, into the high 90%, and even a couple of indicators last year hit 100%. We are now sort of introducing a new standard, a new version of this to continue to drive performance. But there's a similar story for all of the graphs. In fact, tailings looks very similar to this, as do a number of the others. And so this helps really communicate largely, at an association level. This is one of our most valuable tools to demonstrate the responsibility of the industry, because it's quantitative, it's verified, it's credible data that shows how we've addressed our key risks. And of course, one of the things that has to be in place for this to be credible is a good verification system. And one of the things that we've sought very hard to do is to create a verification system that really seeks to balance keeping the burden as small as possible for the miners and making sure that we're maximizing credibility. So it's based on an annual self-assessment. Every year, the mines will assess their scores, update them as improvements are made. Then only every third year, you have to undertake a verification. It's not an audit, it's a verification. So it's bringing someone in, an external verifier, to look for evidence to support the accuracy of your self-assessment. That comes with a letter of assurance from the CEO that the verification was done according to appropriate terms of reference and is an accurate reflection of performance on the ground. And then our community of interest advisory panel plays a role in that every year they'll select 2 companies to appear before it for what we call a post-verification review. It's a deeper examination. It's a 3-hour meeting where the company is there to answer questions from the panel about areas the panel's interested in, and there's a public report issued about that. So that multi-layered approach has done very successful in keeping the burden low on companies and maximizing the credibility of TSM.
In the interest of time, I think we'll quickly go through these next few slides. These are just illustrations of how TSM over time has captured the attention of a number of different stakeholder groups, including sort of the ESG ratings agencies like Sustainalytics, which now uses TSM as part of its evaluation of risks for the mining sector. And TSM companies that are using TSM score best on their rating system compared to those that don't. The next few slides are similar stories. We're appearing. Financial institutions in Canada are using TSM in their evaluations. The Royal Canadian Mint, is that the next one? No, this is which one? Invest in Canada. The Royal Canadian Mint is using TSM to sell a responsible gold product. And TSM has really emerged as a leading system for the whole responsible sourcing movement, being able to demonstrate to your customers that the materials they are buying from you has been responsibly mined. There are really only a couple of systems out there in the world that are seen to be credible. TSM is one of them, and the strength of TSM continues to grow, and its value continues to grow the more and more countries, industry associations around the world adopt it, and the more and more companies that commit to it. It ends up it is truly emerging as the leading system for this. So there's a lot of value here. I'm conscious of time, so I wanted to race through that, but I wanted to close with another couple of messages for you, which have been touched upon. I mean, in addition to this system, there's quite a bit of written guidance in place that we have developed over time. We have a training system, including an online training system that's available for our partner associations to use and to access. And we also deliver training to support new signatories to TSM. In the past and hopefully in the future, such training is done in person, but we have continued to provide such training support on virtually through Zoom or WebEx, etc. And we could continue. We could certainly do that for the Turkish Mining Association if you wanted it. It's our commitment to you to help support you to get TSM off the ground and operating in your country. So we're more than happy to support every association in their TSM journey, particularly in the first few years when you do need that support. I think we could stop it there, and happy to take any questions that you might have for us.
Thank you very much, Pierre and Ben. This is, although, I knew about general criteria and issues of TSM, but every time I get really excited to see the implementation of TSM under the umbrella of Mining Association of Turkey in Turkey, because I think, the way that I see, we need to highlight and expose our good apples much more, so that the bad apples are not going to set the agenda regarding to mining in the country. So I think this was great opportunity to listen to follow your presentation, and thank you very much again once more. And
you know what, Mehmet, I'd also add, you make your bad apples better. TSM raises all boats.
Yeah,
it raises all boats, and every company has become stronger and better operators over time, because it gives you the tools. And actually, I would emphasize that TSM has been of greatest value to your small and mid-sized mining companies that know they need to do this but don't know how to start, because it gives you the tools and the framework to build your own systems to better manage your risks.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. This is a great tool for sure, and it's actually bringing the credibility to the operator, to the company, and also a luxury, so that you can sleep well in the night, right? So I got already a note from Halil Ibrahim. He said he would like to add something quickly, and then I'm open to get any questions towards Ben and Pierre afterwards. Please, Halil Ibrahim Bey.
Mehmet Bey, söz verdiğiniz için çok teşekkür ederim. Az önce ifade ettiğiniz tarzda kötü elmaları azaltma adına ülkemizde bir standarda ihtiyaç vardı. Biliyorsunuz Kanada NI 4301'e ta 1994 yılında geçmişti. Bir uluslararası madencilik kodu olarak yürürlüğe koymuştu. Keza diğer kodlar JORC, PERC, SAMREC ve SMA gibi diğer ülkelerin kodları da CRISCO şemsiyesi altında çok önceden yürürlüğe girmişti. Biz de madencilik sektörümüzün uluslararası standartlara kavuşması noktasında bir irade ortaya koyduk ve yasal mevzuatla 2016 yılında Ulusal Maden Kaynak ve Rezerv Raporlama Komisyonu'nu kurduk, UMRE'yi kurduk. 2016'dan bu yana da 4 senedir muazzam bir gelişme içerisinde yürüyoruz. Neden? Çünkü doğal kaynaklarımızın daha iyi değerlenmesi, yönetilmesi ve planlanmasını teminen bu kodu yürürlüğe koyduk ve şu anda da 9 üyesiyle çalışıyoruz. Ben de UMRE'nin bir üyesiyim. Biz ülkemizde bu kodun uluslararası alanda hüsnü kabul görmesi için ve oturması için de ciddi bir uğraş içindeyiz. Kanadalı dostlarımızla bunu ben paylaşmak istedim ve önümüzdeki sene Toronto'da 2023 PDEK fuarında buluşmak üzere çok teşekkür ediyorum ve bu fırsatı tekrar verdiğiniz için çok teşekkür ediyorum. Sağ olun Mehmet Bey.
Ali Bey, would you like to say anything about probably further steps or any approach after the presentation of Ben and Pierre? I can't.
Ben öncelikle çok teşekkür ediyorum. Kanada Madenciler Derneği'nin değerli katkıları için de çok teşekkür ediyorum. Aslında bu konuyu biz geçen sene Kanada'da birlikte bir araya geldik ve konuştuk. Onlarla ilgili bunu geliştirebileceğimizi de belirttik. Onlar da üzerlerine düşen her türlü desteği vereceklerini belirttiler. Biz de bunlarla ilgili bir çalışma yapıyoruz zaten. Özellikle bir taslak da hazırladık. Bunu onlarla da paylaşacağız gelecekte. Bunu kendi ülkemizin gerçeklerine de uyarlayarak bir oluşturacağız ve buna kesinlikle adım atacağız. Evet, ben şeye de katılıyorum. Çürük elmalarımız da var, iyi elmalarımız da var ama çürük elmalarımızı atmayacağız. Çürük elmalarımızı da çürüklerini kazıyarak yenebilir hale getireceğiz. Ben bu konuda umutluyum da bu konuda Türkiye'deki madencilik sektörünün de çok iyi bir yere geleceğine inanıyorum. Ve bu işbirliği için de tekrar şimdiden çok teşekkür ediyorum. Sunum için de katkılar için de çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Thanks, Ali. Any other question from any panelist? If not, then when I hear Mike's name anytime, I always remember a smiling face, a great support towards Turkey, and I know he's always looking for the opportunity to be in Turkey and discuss the issues face to face, and I think, Mike, I'd like to turn it over to you for your comments.
Thank you, Mehmet Bey. And you're right, I can't wait to get back to Turkey. Hello, everyone. It's, well, it's so encouraging to hear the very constructive and positive views expressed by fellow panelists today. I mean, who can't help but be excited, to borrow Mehmet's word, be excited about today's discussion. And I'm delighted to be participating as the representative of the Canada-Turkey Business Council, or CTBC. We were established about 20 years ago to promote increased trade and investment with Turkey, between Canada and Turkey. We're a large group of Canadian companies and organizations, including a number of mining firms. I should mention that our long-standing Turkish partner over the years has been DEIK, the Foreign Economic Relations Board of Turkey, and more specifically, DEIK's proactive Turkey-Canada Business Council, which of course is the host of today's event. The CTBC and its member firms across all sectors, including and especially in the mining industry, make every effort to work in a socially and environmentally responsible manner in Turkey. In particular, and one of the Turkish speakers referred to this, some of the events we've been involved with. We've hosted over the years a number of seminars on the leading role Canadian mining firms play in implementing corporate social responsibility programs for projects in Turkey. And this has been going back for about a dozen years or so. It goes without saying that we strongly support the principles and objectives of TSM as a global best practice in sustainable and responsible mining. As Chris Wimmer pointed out in his remarks, Canada's presence in the Turkish mining sector is significant. In fact, Canadian firms are the largest foreign investors in the Turkish mining sectors, with, as Chris mentioned, upwards of over $9 billion in assets and employing a large workforce of 6,000 or so persons. So with that strong presence, we clearly have a moral obligation to promote socially responsible practices throughout Turkey. And this important webinar is a key step in that direction. Our members haven't just talked about the need for increased social responsibility, they have been very active on that front for quite some time. For example, I'll start with El Dorado. Through TOBB, it has invested substantially in reducing greenhouse gas emissions in Turkey. It has also invested heavily in community development, in land reclamation, and in employing nearly 100% of its staff from local areas. Centerra Gold has long focused on developing partnerships with host communities, governments, employees, contractors, and others to promote sustainable and social and economic development. In that spirit, Alamos Gold is committed to construct a water reservoir in the region that has lacked fresh potable water, and this will impact 11 villages in terms of both human water consumption and farming. The same spirit and commitment applies to other firms active in Turkey, including Teck, as well as Liberty Gold, which was previously known as Pilot Gold. So these and other Canadian mining firms have taken significant steps to promote sustainability in the provinces and regions in which they operate. the CTBC is proud that our members are leading the sustainability movement in the country. And given the Turkish government's welcome objective to significantly expand mining operations in coming years, we see excellent potential for firms already present to expand their operations, and for other Canadian firms not yet there in Turkey to assess the potential for establishing brand new operations in the country. In that context, we would like to see nothing better than the Turkish mining sector adopting the TSM program as other countries have been doing. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Mike. I mean, I know we have already passed the designated time slot, but just I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything else from panelists. I would say. Ercan Bey. Okay, just a quick comment from Ercan Bey.
Yeah, sure. I think reaching to that level of AAA is, I wouldn't say it is an easy task, but it is quite possible. It requires senior management commitment to these principles and standards. As Charlie Bakır, we received AAA for community outreach, but actually it is rather than, I mean, it brought additional work for our department, but also it made our operation receiving social license made it quite easier. So I think it is it's securing the business, although it requires some effort. It is securing the operations and strengthening the social license to operate. That's why I think one of the main tasks will be convincing the senior leaders, maybe raising their awareness to commit for these principles and TSM values. I think I'm quite hopeful with that.
Thanks, Ercan Bey. So as the closing remark, I would like to say that I see that there's potential steps from Mining Association of Turkey towards Mining Association of Canada to develop the necessary steps to set up the link and prepare ourselves for training from Mining Association of Canada, and maybe not a harsh start, but a baby steps start, you know, because we know that we need to be careful, and we know that not all the players in the mining industry can fulfill the requirements right away. So we will prepare and we will train and pave the road for training and stuff like that. Before I close, maybe I should convey the best wishes of Chairman of DEIK, Mr. Nail Olpak, and also Chairman of TCBC, Nurdan Erbu. So thanks again once more, and we believe we can always develop Turkish mining industry with the support from Canada, and for sure with the support and inclusion of women into the industry. And so Pınar Hanım, I would like to close the session here, and thanks again to everybody contributed to the preparation of this webinar, and thanks to Canadian side, thanks to Turkish side. Thank you very much.